Radio guys, who are with issue 4. Issue 4, unfortunately, because of the rest of the stuff that came with the kit, is not a very heavy weathering issue. That's all we've got. And for this, since it's already metal, it'll be weathered very similarly to the pistons and the greeblies from previous issues. So, as always, oil stains, rust washes. Obviously, if you don't want it to be rusty, disregard the rust wash. It's not gospel. It's not law. The way I'm explaining to do this, just the way I'm doing mine. Obviously, a few people had asked if I would share how I'm doing it, and promise is a promise. So here we go. For this, I think I'm just going to go with the blue grey wash as a base to give it that nice sort of steely, cold colour. Now I can just pretty much wash that all over this. Do not have to worry about being precise in the slightest. Obviously, since I'm doing this off model, I don't have to worry about getting on anything else. Okay, now just let that dry a little bit. And then brush back some of the paint. Now obviously you want to avoid brush marks, so dabbing like this, not the stupid dance move, obviously, is the best way to avoid unsightly sort of swoosh lines, like so. That gets rid of those. And if it's still leaving more paint behind, just turn the tissue slightly, keep going. Make sure you get out any of the big pooled bits out. And that has now got a nice blue tinge, rather than just being a nice, rather than just being a boring silver. So we've gone in with the blue. Okay, back to continuing with issue 4. Issue 4. The memory card on the camera filled up, so it's that's where we left off. Or here is where we left off, should I say? With the blue wash on the silver. Now, okay. I don't really think that I want to go down the rust route with this, so I think I'll just be going in with some oil stain to flesh out a bit more of the detail and give it a nice glossy colour to it. Okay, just getting a nice few drips. It's better to put this on in droplets rather than to brush it into the gaps, just because it lets the oil where it would run, it makes it look as if the oils ran naturally rather than it being painted in. So work that in. And then give it a little sloosh around to get it to dry. And get some more tissue. dabbing off some of the oil. Press down pretty hard into the smaller cracks. Any air bubbles you create in the paint you want to try and get rid of, because obviously they'll stay. Especially right down there, you can see the big air bubble. I'm going to get rid of that. Now with the oil stain wash not being a very pigmented colour, I think I've changed my mind. I'm going to go with a bit of rust wash just to intensify the colour. And obviously give it a little bit of the rust effect. I am just making this up as I go along, obviously using reference photos for certain bits, but yeah, there we go. So a little bit of rust wash on. I do apologise, I do have a bit of flu at the minute, so if you're wondering why I'm sniffing. There we go, just pushing the rust in. Get a nice rusted effect there and get it out of focus. Lovely. Now in the bottom there's quite a bit of paint collected in that deep groove, so what I'm going to do is get a square of tissue and a nice thin implement. I was hoping I had a thinner brush than that. Oh dear. Well, I guess this I'll have to do. It's not something everybody's going to have, but what I would call an O-ring pick or a dental tool. I'll fold the tissue and I'm going to press with the tool right into the pools of paint just in the bottom there. That's going to get rid of most of the pooling. Lovely. Right, and then to finish this piece off, I'm going to go in with a bit of rock powder. Give it a nice dusting. Now obviously, since this is a stronger pigment colour, you want to be more selective as to where you put this. And obviously if you're wanting to apply it while the paint's still wet like I do, you don't want to overdo it too much. I'm going to get straight in there with the tissue, start dabbing it out. If you do get too much in, you can always go for the wipe, although as long as you sort of dab the excess off afterwards rather than leaving the wipe lines on. Like I've previously mentioned, you've got to dab pretty hard to get that to come off. It's not as easy to come off as the other stuff. Right, I'm pretty happy with how that's starting to look. What I may do is just finally go back in with a gloss oil wash, just in a couple of areas, just to sort of dim over and blend everything together. same situation as before. We've got a bit of pooling going on the bottom. So back with the old O-ring pick. Any sort of thin implement would do. Cocktail stick, for example, obviously. If you don't have a set of O-ring picks, just going to drop that into position and lock it in. And that is it in situ. Obviously you can see that I've finished the weathering on the blue insert. Showing where I've got the scuffs. Nice pooled bits of oil in the vents, the grooves, and now obviously the joint cover. So that's that part of issue 4 done. Onto the ankle. Could we call that an ankle? I think it's an ankle. Anyway, for the ankle, there is obviously a lot of pieces to go onto this, so it's going to be a very minimalistic weather based on what I know can be seen from the drawings, which is obviously this edge here and this bowed edge here, and we're going to be doing the same sort of technique as used previously to pick out the edges. And give the worn away paint effect. So here we go. Now, a technique I've developed over a while is sort of a fanning technique, I suppose you could call it, where after taking most of the paint off the brush, you sit and you start fanning lightly, moving towards the edge you're going to put the paint on. Just a very fluid movement, bringing the brush to the item, and then you can either, whichever you feel more comfortable doing, either move the piece or move your hand that's controlling the brush to work your way around. Obviously add more paint when you think it's necessary. And that's pretty much the extent of the weathering that's going to be on this piece. Just taper it off. Didn't realise that I still had some weathering paint on my finger there. Same goes for the curve. Obviously, because this isn't a 90-degree edge, you have to be a little bit more precise. Now what we can do, obviously, is another technique, is just to skip the rust stain or oil and put some powder straight on to the slightly wet paint, which will still give with a rust effect, but because I don't want to do the full weather on this part yet, means I can get it in a very precise place. So I can now go back in and dab it to bond it down to the silver. rust exposed edge, which I think what I might do is give it a light coating of the oil stain over the top. Give it a little bit of a sheen. And also helps to blend the weathering together. And that is pretty much it. Oh well, I can always drop that onto the leg now. Come out here a bit. I will be posting stills to the Facebook group. But that's it for now. All caught up. Issue 4.